Today on Capaci's Corner, we're going to look at adding and subtracting rational expressions. Now, before we do this, we need to do a couple things just to get us ready. So the first thing we're going to look at is finding the least common multiple. So what I need to do is I need to look at 6, 15, and 9 and see what multiple goes into all of them. Now, what I usually do is I usually take the highest number, which is 15. 6 and 15 do not, 6 and 9 do not go into 15. So we'll just do multiples. 15 is first, doesn't work. 30 doesn't work. And I keep going one at a time. 45 doesn't work for both 6 and 9. And I keep going until I get to one that works. So in this case, we have to go all the way to 90 for 6, 15, and 9 to go evenly. Now, with our variables, we need the highest power. So our LCM is going to be 90, x to the second, that's our highest power for x, and y to the fourth, which is our highest power for y. Now, as we get ready to add and subtract, let's do something that you did probably in middle school without a calculator. We've given you calculators for so long. Can you remember how to do it without a calculator? So the first thing we need to do is we need to find the lowest common denominator. Same idea between 10 and 25. That's going to be 50. So what I need to do before I add is I need my 10 to be 50 and I need my 25 to be 50. My denominators need to be the same when I add or subtract. So I'm going to start with the fraction I have. And I need that denominator to be 50, so I need to multiply the bottom by 5. Whatever I do the bottom, I have to do the top. And I'll do the same thing with the other denominator. I need 25. I need that to become 50, so I'm going to multiply that by 2. Whatever I do the bottom, I have to do the top. So when I simplify, I get 15 over 50 plus 8 over 50. So my final answer there, now I can add these two since my denominators are the same, and I get 23 over 50. Okay, we're going to use this same sort of idea as we go on with rational expressions. So the first thing we need to do again is find a lowest common denominator. So we're going to do that again. First, I'll look at 16 and 5. And the number that will work for that is 80. Now my variables, I'm going to take the highest power I have. So for A, I have a to the third. And for B, I have b to the second. Now this negative, just so we don't get confused with it, I'd like to just make it an addition and then bring that negative sign up. It's the same thing, but that way I don't lose that negative sign along the way. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with my first fraction. And I need that denominator to say 80, a to the third, b to the second. So what am I missing? What do I need? I need a 5, and I need a to the third, and that's it. But again, whenever I do the bottom, I have to do the top. And I'll do the same thing with my other fraction. Don't forget about that negative. And in this case, I need 16b. So I'm going to work with that top and bottom. Okay, so now I can simplify. So 3 times 5 gives me 15. I have 15a to the fifth over, and again, that's going to give me 80, a to the third, b to the second. And then I have 8 times 16, which is going to be negative 128. And that gives me b times x all over 80, a to the third, b to the second. I combine my numerators, and I'm left with 15, a to the fifth, minus 128, bx, all over 80, a to the third, b to the second. Okay, number 4, if I look at the denominator, I don't have a greatest common factor. So I'm going to just pull it apart, see what I have. So I have both signs are the same, right? They're both going to be a plus. My 5 has to be 5 and 1. And then I either have to play around with 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. And 4 and 1 is the one that works. So I'm going to put my x here and my 4x here. Now I'm going to work with my second denominator. I'm going to factor out a 3. Factor out a 3. And I'm left with 4x plus 1. Now my LCD here, I need to have all parts. So my monomial, the only thing I have there is a 3. And I have x plus 5. And I also have 4x plus 1. Now I have another 4x plus 1 over here, so I don't need to write that twice because they only appear one time in each denominator. Okay, so now again, I have x minus 8 over, and I'm going to keep what I have pulled apart. And now I have to go back to my LCD over there and figure out what is it that I'm missing. So in this case, I'm just missing a 3. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 3. And I'll do my second fraction. Actually, let's pull that apart just to give us a visual. I have 3 times 4x plus 1. So what I'm missing here is x plus 5 over x plus 5. Now, so I don't have to write that whole denominator 2 more times. I'm just going to kind of simplify everything together. So I have 3's in the front, and I have x plus 5, 4x plus 1. If I multiply through that 3, I get 3x minus 24. Then I get plus 6x plus 30 when I multiply my x plus 5 through. So I'm going to combine what I have, and I'm left with 3x plus 6x gives me 9x. And I have plus 6 all over 3 times x plus 5 times 4x plus 1. Now I'm going to want to pull this apart here, right? My numerator, I can see that they have a GCF of 3. So I have 3 times 3x plus 2. And I realize now that my monomials, my 3's can disappear. So my final answer is going to be 3x plus 2 all over x plus 5 times 4x plus 1. And that's my final answer right there. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Now this setup looks a little bit different. I have a fraction on both sides of my numerator and my denominator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the greatest common factor of all of them. So I'm going to look at this term and this term and this term and this term and just do one lowest common denominator of all of them. And when I do that, I know this is over 1 and this is over 1, but I know that I have an x and a y. So I'm going to multiply everything by xy. And let's see what happens. Okay, so I multiply the first term by x, I get xy, plus xy times 1 over x leaves me with y, all over, same thing again on the bottom. I have xy, and then let's make this a plus minus. My y's are going to simplify, so I'm left with minus x squared. So that's my final answer right there. It actually looks like that one's going to be a lot harder, but you actually do have a lot less work on that one. Okay, last problem, same sort of idea. We have a fraction within fractions there. So again, my LCD here, I have an x, and I have a y, and I have another x. So I just need to do xy. Okay, so I'll multiply everything by xy over xy. My numerator, I get xy plus 2y. My denominator, let's change that again. My first fraction, my y's will simplify, so I'm left with 3x. And my second fraction there, my x's will simplify, so I'm left with negative 4y. Okay, so that's my final answer right there. Thanks for stopping by today. Have a good one.